Welcome back people to the QGIS course. Professor Piyush here. In this video, I'm going to start a new chapter about classifying the vector data and how can we read the vector data in QGIS. What is an attribute table, how to get aware with attribute tables, what are the data and the terminology used in the attribute tables. So I will cover all of these. If you are new and you want to learn the QGIS course from the scratch, please follow the playlist and download the exercise data, sample data, which I have used here in this all of my videos in the course. You can also use them and practice with me. So what is an vector attribute data? So vector data is the most commonly kind of data in the daily use of GIS. So if you are using that in your work and it's your daily use of GIS, so you will be getting a lot of vector attribute data and you have to read a lot of attribute data, and also sometimes you have to create those attribute data using Excel files and all. So it's very important to understand how attribute data works, how can you access it, how can you read it, how can you identify different features using attribute tables and all. So first thing which I'm going to do is to make you familiarize with the attribute table and how is the attribute data structured in QGIS. So for that, I will use any random layer. So if you haven't loaded these layers in the initial videos, I have shown how to do that. Please follow from them. So I will use the protected area. You can see in the map, this huge 2 chunks is my protected area. Right now I know them, it's fine. But let's say I got a random map from someone and I want to identify different features. Then it becomes easy when I have attribute data knowledge and I know how to access attribute data, and using that I can identify different features of the map. So currently these are the 2 protected areas, the bigger one and the smaller one, same color. But I will show you how can we find through using vector data. So one way is I will go to edit and make sure if I know I want to go for protected areas, I will select the layer and I will go to edit and select and use select features, right? So let's say I want to know about this feature, right? So I will select it. And the moment I select it, it will become yellow. It doesn't mean that the layer color has changed. It is just an identification of selection. You can access from there as well on the top, select feature, right? So now what? Now if I again go to protected area and right click and open my attribute table from this option, you can see automatically that particular feature is highlighted. So let me explain to you what actually this means, right? You can see here the serial number, the feature ID number 1, 2, and then you see full ID like this, and then OSM ID and OSM type and all these things. This is how the data has been written by default. This is actually name and ID of that particular feature, right? So I have selected that feature, it becomes blue here. That means this is the data of that feature. Sorry, let me select again. Let me select this one this time. Open my attribute table again. Now you see the bottom one is blue. So this is row. What does row have? Row is like a record of that feature on the canvas, which you can see, this yellow one. So it is all the records about that particular feature, right? Where is the location and name and type and all this data, whichever possible, is all shown in the row, right? It's very important to understand what rows and columns are. Column is like a field under which that data is recorded. So field means which area, like name, type, right? What is the land use? So these are the different fields under which the data is recorded. So columns define them. For every feature, the area will remain same, right? But in the row, the data of that particular feature will change, right? So these are also known as attribute values. So this is the basic terminology which you should understand, because if you are going to use GIS every day. Okay, what are the other things by which I can access? Let me close this and select somewhere else in the blank canvas to deselect, right? This is how you can deselect. So once I deselected, now again, if I go to attribute table, nothing is selected, right? So let's say I want to select the restaurants. This time, let's say restaurants, and I will open the attribute table straight away. And I want to know, I have certain, my field of interest is about the address. So let's say I want to go for Vortex Street, right? So I will select this, right click, and I will zoom to the feature. So whichever restaurant is in that street, automatically that will pop up. So this particular feature is showing this restaurant. If I go to this one and zoom, it will go to another restaurant. And I go to another Vortex Street restaurant, I will zoom, it will bring me that restaurant. Right, let me just minimize this so that you can see better, and just bring that address field here, right, and keep it on the side. Now let's see again, Vortex, right click, zoom to feature. This is the restaurant. Cool, right? So straight away you get those restaurants if you have certain field to look into, right? Let's say I want to go to this restaurant, I will right click and zoom to the feature. Or let's say you are in this area and you want to see in this scale only where are those restaurants placed, right, in the city. So how can we do that? I will just right click and I will flash that feature. So if I click this, you can see here this feature is flashing, right? Let me do that again. Flash feature. Now you can see here this is flashing. Again, Vortex Street, let's flash the feature. Which one is flashing? Or you can zoom to that feature and see this one. Actually, because of the color, the flash color is not that highlighted, but let me show you that in protected areas. You open the attribute table of that and select any of this full ID or some ID and right click and flash the feature. You can see here, right? Flash the feature. So these are different ways and different option. There are also panning option, so you can use them, play with it, try to get yourself handy with those elements of attribute data and attribute table. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to use labels in QGIS. Previously, you have learned how to use symbology, but there's another way how we can represent things in our map or different features of the map by using labels. So what actually I mean by that is, let's say you want to write the street name, you can straight away use labels to write them. Let's say there is a contours on the site, you want to label the levels of the contours, you can do that. And also, let's say you want to highlight or write, or instead of symbols, you can just straight away write which water body, where is it located, and all those things. So that becomes easy to read the map in some, in different kind of study which we are doing. So we'll cover different ways of adding labels and how they're different from the symbology. See you there.